Okay. Israel at war, says Netanyahu, as fighter jets target Gaza after surprise Palestinian attack. So, what we know so far is that around 5 hours ago, reported in The Guardian, that senior Hamas military commander Mohammed Deif said 5,000 rockets had been launched and he called on Palestinians everywhere to fight. This is the day of the greatest battle to end the last occupation on earth, he said. By the way, when Hamas says end the occupation, they mean all of Israel and Palestine. They mean the entire region. Um, What's known so far is that the Palestinian gunmen infiltrated areas of southern Israel and rocket barrages were launched from the Gaza Strip in the attack. Sirens sounded across Israel, including in Jerusalem. One Israeli woman was reported killed, and ambulance crews were deployed in areas around the Gaza Strip. And since then, there have been residential areas targeted. There have been reports of Israeli commanders and public figures either being killed or kidnapped. There are people fleeing their people staying, being told to stay in their homes by the IDF. There have been on Twitter a lot of unverified images. One which claims to be um, an Israeli family of men, women, and children, about 10 of them, stacked up in a room with blood everywhere. But again, I'm not going to go with Twitter news. But there's a lot of grim images. There's images of fighters in the back of a truck just firing at people in the middle of the street. So Hamas have launched a surprise attack on Israel. On the anniversary, incidentally, this is the right at the end of a Jewish holiday, and it's on the 50th year anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, when on a Jewish holiday, a surprise attack was launched. Okay, wait, hang on. I'm gonna. I think you're joking based on what you were saying earlier, James Charles, but fuck off. All right. Not even as a joke, please. And in the Yom Kippur War, there was a surprise attack on Israel that came in from Syria and Egypt. They went through the occupied Golan Heights and the occupied Sinai Peninsula and actually got so close to the Israeli border, like as a military force, that Israel actually started speaking about using nukes, and they started readying some of their tactical nuclear warheads and pointed them towards Syria. They pointed one of the nukes was pointed towards Damascus. Uh, yeah, that was a really to Jewish people to Israelis. This is like a really this is like a big ouch in their history. I mean, they won. They pushed both the forces back. It did end with the negotiations to give the Sinai Desert back to Egypt, but um, Israelis don't really take kindly to surprise attacks on Jewish holidays. That the Yom Kippur was like one of the really bad ones for them. Um, anyway, it looks like okay. First of all, what do we what do we say about this? Is it surprising? Like, kind of, but it's also, in the grand scheme of things, it's not that surprising. You've probably noticed on a few of the last stream segments that some of the stuff we've been saying has maybe made it sound like this is possible, or maybe more likely to happen than you'd expect, because of two things. One is that the Israeli right wing, Netanyahu's government, have been propped up recently by a far right coalition of religious nutbags, basically. People who are far more extreme than even Netanyahu, who is pretty extreme himself, I would say. They have got ministers calling for the destruction of entire cities in the occupied West Bank. They have people who believe that Palestinians aren't even a real people. They have settlement expansion at one of their top priorities. They have all these kind of legislative efforts to further control demographics of Israel itself. But and also that government. So the one uh, side of this is that Israel has been antagonizing Palestinians very, very hard, like more so than usual. with all these with these people in their government and with these new reforms. Um, the right wing government as well has also spent the last wee while trying to weaken the powers of the Israeli Supreme Court, which a lot of Israelis see as the only real check and balance in the democratic system. And the non right wing of Israel has been up in arms about it. They've been leading some of the biggest, well, the biggest protests in the country's history. Actually, part of that protest, if you guys remember, you can maybe look back for it. Part of that protest was that IDF people, IDF soldiers, were not appearing for duty in protest of the laws. Do you remember that? Remember that IDF soldiers were becoming disillusioned and they were not showing up for duty? And at the time, Hamas, Hezbollah, they knew that. They knew that was happening. Hezbollah commented on it and they said that this was going to be like a really big opportunity. So it's not like this has come out of completely nowhere. Um, Israel is more internally divided, or well, was. I don't know if they will be after this. They've been more internally divided now than ever, almost. And the same with the amount that they've been furthering up their encroachment on Palestinian territory and their attacks on Palestinians. It's not completely unexpected. Where it goes from now, I guess we're probably going to spend the next while looking at updates, seeing what happens. But it looks like Netanyahu has declared a state of war, which means there are probably going to be quite brutal reprisals on Gaza. Don't look at any of the live chats and any news updates on YouTube because they are filled with people calling for the end of Gaza, for the destruction of Gaza, for throwing them into the sea, for glassing Gaza. Yeah, it's not good out there. And I think a lot of the division and on the West Bank, yeah, well, security has been there are alarms and security measures being heightened in the West Bank as well, because the call from Hamas is for people to fight everywhere. That's what they want. Right? I don't actually know yet exactly what Feta are doing right now. What Abbas is saying. Might look at that. They've tried to get Hezbollah involved. Yeah, I don't think Hezbollah have actually joined in yet, have they? Even though I seem to remember when IDF soldiers weren't reporting for duty, it was I think it was Hezbollah who were being quite loud about that. I mean, well, they were firing shots into Israel earlier this year. Um, you think Hezbollah are hiding under a desk, not piss their pants? Yeah. I need to look at a map. The West Bank, East Bank, confusing. It's easy. There's no East Bank. What? The East Bank is like what? Jordan? Oh, Abbas. Yeah, well, that makes more sense. Yeah. Sorry, Palestine map. The attacks are coming from here, Gaza. Okay? Here, Gaza. Gaza. Okay? Yeah, the East Bank is Jordan. Yeah. Yeah, this is really recent as well. It's been like less than 10 hours. That Guardian story, that breaking story from the Guardian was 5 hours old. Live UA map. Yeah, there will be fighting in the West Bank for sure. So here, apparently there's been a shooting in Hebron, Jenin. This is where the Lion's Den forces. This is where a lot of militants have been present for quite a while. Israel has raided this place quite often. Shooting operation targeting Israeli forces at the is that Mukabila crossing north of Jenin. Sorry. Settlements being attacked. Civilian guard attempted attack. Lion's Den is Nablus. I thought they were in Jenin as well, weren't they? Oh, I could be wrong. I thought they were like quite popular just in this area here, but oh, whoops. Oh, the Jenin Brigades. Okay, okay. Al Qassam Brigades seized a kibbutz. Wow, the kibbutz are still going strong. Roaming inside settlements. Israeli army fighting Hamas militants. Also, yeah, as a result of the judicial reform issues, Israel has basically been caught with their pants down on this. They have been so unprepared. So it does look like there's kind of like I don't think it would have gone this far if they were had any if it weren't for probably like the recent events of the last few months. Militants setting fires in the kibbutz to make civilians come out. I didn't know there were that many kibbutz in this area. Israeli army fighting militants. Another rocket attack from Gaza that appears to have struck a residential area. Yeah, the Iron Dome doesn't keep out all the rockets. Remember that? So yeah, a lot of them have been hitting residential areas, whatever. Yeah. And I guess Israel has been firing back. Yeah, the airstrikes in Gaza have already started. This was 4 hours ago. An ambulance vehicle was bombed in Khan Yunis. It's just like Lebanon all over again. Yeah. Fighter jets bombed a Hamas site west of Gaza City. Oh god, Gaza is going to be in a awful situation after this, I think. More than 300 rockets fired. Firing continues. The frequency of rocket firing from Gaza towards Israel has increased during the current moments. They're calling it Operation Al-Aqsa Storm. Jesus. I guess this is just like advertising. Okay, whatever. This is a massive humiliation for Israel, and they'll respond with extreme force. Yeah, I think that's the most likely thing from their end is that they're going to be very, very vicious in their response, and they're also it's also very possible that Netanyahu emerges like a national hero or something. I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if that's going to, because like it does often happen that if you're a leader and you're in a bit of a shambles, war is quite good for you because it rallies everyone around you. I don't know if that's going to happen in his case, but might do. "70-year-old critically wounded, another man trapped following a direct rocket impact at Qatar Regional Council." Well, in the last hour, the last update was 22 dead on the Israeli side. I don't know how many Palestinians have died so far. Probably quite a few. And I'm guessing this is the line of action. So they launched it from the side. Okay. Yeah, this is the fighting here. Okay. The worst is if you had to back off, someone worse would take his place. I don't know if the Israeli, again, it's hard to tell because like whenever this happens, a lot of Israelis get radicalized. That's usually what happens. Every time you hear a story about some Israeli public figure who used to be normal is now like a far right psycho, it's usually because someone died. They knew someone who died in one of the intifadas or just in a terrorist attack. That's usually the story. So So I don't know, but I don't know if Israel is ready to elect someone worse than Netanyahu. I don't know if they're quite there yet. Anyway, 10 new updates. Let's see some of the updates. This is when Netanyahu said we are at war and we will win. The enemy will pay a price it has never known. There you go. Big man words. This is just a picture. Okay. We've got all the condemnations from the EU against Hamas, not against Israel. Hamas have made a big mistake this morning from the Israeli defense minister. Dozens of fighter jets currently striking a number of targets belonging to the Hamas terrorist organization in the Gaza Strip. And remember, Gaza is very small and very dense, so it's very likely that Palestinian civilians in Gaza will be dying already. Think Islamic Jihad have joined in as well. That's not really surprising. The European Union's foreign affairs chief expressed solidarity with Israel. Several videos are surfacing that appear to show an elderly Israeli woman inside Gaza. Oh yeah, they've taken a lot of people hostage. They've taken high-profile people hostage as well. I think there are a few commanders who have been taken hostage. You can see them just being like dragged out of the house and they're like in a t-shirt and fucking shorts. Yeah. Are FETA involved? I don't think. I don't know what they're saying. I think. Yeah. I think. The assessment of Abbas probably just shitting himself right now, bricking it. Because I'm imagining he has to make someone happy, right? And it's either uh, the Western partners or it's Hamas, right? And the Palestinian people, which he can never seem to do. So over 2,000 rockets fired, at least 545 wounded. Concerns about the north? Yeah, we don't know exactly. An unnamed Israeli minister has told Ynet that there is a risk the Hamas attacks could be designated to distract ahead of an attack from the north. In the meantime, Lebanese militant group Hezbollah said it is in direct contact with the leadership of the Palestinian resistance and is conducting a continuous assessment of events and the progress of operations with it. This was way too coordinated. Yeah, no, yeah, this is like it's very I don't have Hamas like I know Hamas have had terror attacks within Israel, but I thought it was more like lone actors. I don't know if they've ever actually like launched a penetration like into the border like that as a huge group. I don't think have they done that before? And gone and taken hostages to Gaza and shit? I don't think they've done that before. Yeah, no, they never, yeah. I felt like their attacks during the second intifada were usually like lone actors. But this is actually like a full penetration. Intelligence failure for the ages. Yeah, 50th anniversary of Yom Kippur. Gunmen kidnapped, murdered Israelis in the southern communities. filming their assault as they advanced in numerous locations. In one instance, a Gaza television journalist delivered a stand up report about one attack from inside Israel, an almost unthinkable moment. While the images of several thousand rockets sectoring the sky has become familiar over the years during the periodic uptakes in the fighting around Gaza, the footage of Hamas assault teams moving through the streets in communities such as Sderot, blowing the gates of a kibbutz and firing on passing cars and pedestrians, showing scenes not witnessed by most Israelis for whom short-lived attacks in cities have become a fact of life. If it is surprising, it is because Israel's surveillance of Palestinian society is both highly sophisticated and highly invasive, with monitoring of Hamas's activity in particular one of the most important tasks for the security establishment. Yeah, this is it's like a massive, massive L for Israeli security. Is this a third intifada? I mean, we've said, like, I think both me and Beast Process have said that, like, this is that the third intifada kind of like has already started. This is just like part of it, although it's quite an escalation. Qatar says Israel is alone is responsible for escalation. Yeah, they would say that. Let's see what the old BBC is saying. Sorry, Aaron Bastani. I can't get over how dumb this tweet is. There's clear double standard in endorsing terrorism against civilian targets by Ukraine, which one can obviously argue is justified. They face occupation, and condemning it by Palestinians. Those fighting our enemies equals war of liberation. Those fighting our allies equals terrorism. I mean, I don't. Which Ukrainian offensive has been terrorism against civilian targets? He's so dumb. He's such a dense motherfucker. Like, are we gonna see Ukrainians strolling through Russian cities and Donbass, yeah, which again was not targeting civilians. I don't know if you guys know that. That's actually not true. They were fighting against separatists within their own country. Anyway, whatever. Oh yeah, the Crimean Bridge had a family. That's true. Whatever. We're not getting baited by that. What is Biden saying? That's what I want to know. Is he still in bed? Jeez. Fuck. Iran backs the attack. Okay, not surprising. Palestinian foreign minister says Biden's inaction amid Middle East violence surges is weak. Yeah, Biden is probably, oh God, this is so, like, Biden is so fucked for Palestine. Like, because, again, he's probably been quite aware that in the last couple of years, Democrats have become much more in favor of Palestinians than they ever have before. But now, now that the pressure is going to be on him to go the other way from the rest of the country, and probably from Democrats now as well. Oh God. He initially won plaudits from the Palestinians when he rejected the Trump administration's unabashedly pro-Israel stance. But Biden so far has done little to follow through for that vision. I'm frustrated, Malki told members of the Foreign Press Association, an organization representing international media outlets in Israel and the Palestinian territories. It seemed that Biden wanted to change all policies Trump has taken, but not when it comes to Palestine. Pressured by Israel's far-right government, increasingly isolated in the Arab world and running out of money, the Palestinian Authority is confronting what analysts say it could be its greatest threat to its existence. Malki said the Biden administration has been mealy-mouthed about the expansion of Jewish settlements, the escalation of military raids in the West Bank, that they have that have killed a growing number of Palestinians and the daily abuses of the open-ended Israeli occupation. He also lashed out at Biden's failure to reverse several measures taken by the Trump administration that Palestinians saw as undermining their quest for statehood. There's now footage of Hamas gunning down civilians in cold blood. They have been known to do that. Again, I'm not believing any fucking Twitter videos, though. Not for now. Malki acknowledged he had no hope for long-stalled peace talks to resume under Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's far-right coalition, which includes hardline Jewish settler leaders openly hostile to the Palestinian Authority. Xi Jinping met with Abbas in Beijing to discuss the pursuit of a two-state solution to the conflict. If peace talk happen in the future, which I doubt, why not include China? China is giving signals they want to help. The opening of, meanwhile, the Biden administration is pushing for the normalization of relations between Saudi Arabia and Israel, dispatching his national security advisor to the kingdom last week for talks with the powerful Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The opening of diplomatic relations between Israel and the other Gulf Arab states, including the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain in 2020, enraged Palestinian leaders and put them on the defensive politically. Malki expressed hope that Saudi Arabia wouldn't follow suit in brokering a deal that would boost Israel's standing in unprecedented ways. I hope that the Saudis will not yield to any kind of pressure or intimidation coming from the Biden administration. My guess is that the Saudi response will be both sides. Wow, I'm so awake today. Okay, let's see. Calls for an end to escalation. This was 17 hours ago. Given up on Palestine with Israeli peace. Oh, someone said, it's just a quote. Immediate halt to escalation. Closely following developments in the unprecedented situation between a number of Palestinian factions and the Israeli occupation forces, which has resulted in a high level of violence taking place on a number of fronts there. We recall our repeated warnings of the dangers or the situation exploding as a result of the continued occupation. It called on the international community to activate a credible peace process that would lead to a two-state solution. They want you, peace process. To exercise. Loner has a DGG shortcut on his desktop. Do I? I don't think I do. All right. Called on both parties to exercise utmost levels of restraint, stressing the importance of protecting the civilians. It's just so interesting seeing how the takes differ depending on each country's political arrangements with Israel or Palestine. The UK unequivocally condemns the okay, there we go. There's my marching orders. I have to unequivocally condemn the horrific attacks by Hamas on Israeli civilians. Israel's right to defend itself. Okay. Macron, condemn. I heard condemn. Condemn. US condemns. Okay. Just so you guys need your marching orders from your respective nations. What a shit show. I wonder. I feel like everyone who's tweeting about this is being just unfathomably cringe. Apart from Dylan's got good tweets about it, just saying what's happening, and No Justice had a good tweet. What's Vosh saying? Do you think this will completely screw hopes for a peaceful solution? There's not been a peaceful solution for a very long time. I don't know if this is gonna. Yeah, this is probably not gonna make it any better. No, because Israel is gonna go absolutely ballistic on Gaza, and Palestinians in the West Bank will probably suffer a lot of like even more. What's left of their relative civil liberties gone. Yeah, it's just there's gonna be all kinds of clampdowns and reprisals. Yeah, Voss just finished live streaming about it. Yeah, I went on and he was debating like he was arguing with IDF soldiers. I don't know. And I think he made a Nazi comparison. No, he did make. Why am I saying I think he did? So I don't know. But what's this? A lot of innocent Palestinians are going to suffer for this. The mayor of Israel's Shar Hanegev region has been killed. Oh God, one of the mayors died. Shit. Israel uses its immensely disproportionate power to inflict wretched conditions on Palestinians, wretched conditions engender resentment and guarantee terrorism. Israel uses terrorism as justification to worsen conditions, and the cycle repeats. I really hope Israelis recognize their nation's policies essentially guarantee conflict and jeopardize the safety of both them and Palestinians. And only Israel has the power to alter the conditions that will lead to things like this horrific attack from Hamas. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of true. Like, yeah, that's a good way to put it. I think the problem is that the entire Israeli policy right now is to antagonize the fuck out of Palestinians, to keep on encroaching to the point that, which inevitably escalates conflict, which means they fight back even harder against Palestinians, and then they vote further right, and then the right wingers want to expand settlements even further, to the point that you do just have Israel like turning into an international pariah state that just. So I think what's going to happen next? What's going to happen next is we're just going to see like a huge right wing shift even further in Israel. That's like the most likely thing. And it's kind of unsustainable because as soon as it's not even if you're a Zionist, it's not really sustainable because Israel can only encroach so far before the international community is either going to just like turn around and fuck them off, or like they're either gonna have to like ethnically cleanse the entire fucking West Bank, or they're gonna have to like just live as an international pariah state. Well, they would be both in that case. Or they'd have to give voting rights, and if they give voting rights, then they stop being like a Jewish state, which they don't want either. So, but actually, I don't know because like now the problem with this situation is that if they get to ride international opinion on attacks from Hamas, because the way that Israel sells its position to the rest of the world is, look at us, we're always under attack. They can't stop attacking us. These Arabs can't stop attacking us. That's like that plays really well for them, like with their European and American partners. Could there ever be any compromise or peace with Hamas? No, I don't think so. No, I mean the Hamas have negotiated ceasefires and things like that, but the Hamas charter, I think, is to obliterate Israel. So let's see if there's any updates on Abbas. What's our big daddy-o saying? I just have a feeling he's gonna say this like just the most nothing snakiest shit. Let's say, Palestinian people have the right to defend themselves. Is that what he said? No, it's Saturday. Wait, it is Saturday. That the Palestinian people have a right to defend themselves against the terror of settlers and occupation troops. Okay, there we go. I think you could tell before this he was trying to step up his rhetoric when he was I think for the first time in a while he brought up this anti-Semitic alternate history that Ashkenazi Jews never descended from the Israelites. From they had no connection to like ancestral connection to Israel. He said that they came from Asia instead, but that's not true. Yeah, the Khazar shit. Yeah, and he got. But as far as I remember, like maybe not within Palestine, but he got condemned by Palestinian academics. Like international Palestinian academics wrote an open letter condemning him for saying that. But it does make sense that he would say this, though. Yeah. Yeah. Recently, it was worse. What? What it was recently? I don't know what recently was. Vosh Hate Watcher. Hi. Do Ashkenazi Jews have Middle Eastern roots? Yeah, they're like way, way back. They go way back to the original, because like the old Jewish kingdom, like from thousands of years ago, but with like back to the Roman times. Um, yeah, this was where the original Jews came from, wasn't it? They came from here, this area. He blamed Jews for usury for some reason. Oh, right. I can't remember the full thing he said, but yeah, he because the whole thing with Abbas is that he was supposed to be Palestine, like the recognized leader of the Palestinians, like internationally. So he would be the one who would do like the diplomatic efforts for Palestinian statehood with the West, with Israel. He would recognize Israel in turn. The problem with Abbas was though was that when he was a student, I think his doctoral thesis was basically like a Holocaust denial piece. But he went through this big like public reform thing. He like visited Auschwitz and shit like that. So he was always supposed to be like the guy who would negotiate on behalf of Palestinians on the international stage. He basically, from the Palestinian end, ended up more or less becoming a fucking uh, like an assistant in the occupation, like coordinating with Israeli security forces, much to like involving like crackdowns on Palestinian terror groups and stuff like that, and actually a lot of Palestinians suffering at the hands of that, even like non-terrorists. So he's been very unpopular, and I think part of his scramble to get support back has been like upping his rhetoric, because last year he said that Israel was guilty of at least 50 holocausts against Palestinians, and that got him in trouble. And then it was this year with usury and the idea that Ashkenazi Jews don't can't be traced back to the old Jewish kingdom. That they were, I think he said they were, yeah, from the they were like Turkic almost, yeah. Which some Jews are, like a lot of Mongolians actually are like Jewish converts from way back in the day. But you can tell the ones who come from those origins because they look different, you know. They got the look. What are you talking about in trouble? He's hugely popular in Palestine among the people there. You think Abbas is hugely popular in Palestine? What the fuck are you talking? Wait. Has he just gone through like a massive uh reform? Has he just gone through like an entire fucking PR campaign? 74% in 2022 last year don't want Abbas as president. 2023, people will just say anything in this chat. Demand the resignation. Where are the polling numbers in Abbas? They're always horrible, right? He hasn't gone through 77 demanded the resignation. Yeah, bro, what are you talking about? Hamas is shooting cars with civilians, torturing them, shoot kids in the head on the video, and Vosh be like poor Palestinians. You know, two things can be true at once, Andre. Why do you think Hamas gets? Why didn't people vote for Hamas? Do you think they were born that way? Do you think Palestinians just roll out of the womb, fucking denying the Holocaust and wanting Israel to be destroyed? Probably not, right? It's usually like a political process. I don't know what Vosh said. He probably said some dumb shit, maybe. I don't know. I think he was a bit inflammatory talking to those IDF people, but that's all I saw, okay? His tweets were good. Tweets made sense. This is from Times of Israel. Wait, hang on. Don't ask for my email. Fuck you. Don't they have some crazy kids cartoons? As far as I know, both of them do, right? Don't Israeli textbooks for school kids, don't they often teach like portray Palestinians in like a really derogatory way? Arabs, they would say. Palestinian academics sign open letter condemning Abbas's anti-Semitic comments. Over 100 intellectuals warn of fallout from PA president's ignorant narratives on the Palestinian cause, denounce his authoritarian and draconian rule. A group of Palestinian academics and intellectuals signed an open letter on Sunday to condemn the morally and politically reprehensible comments recently made by Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas about the Holocaust and the origins of Ashkenazi Jews. Where is it? They're going to say what he said. He outlined the baseless theory that Ashkenazi Jews are not descended from the Israelites, but an ancient people known as the Khazars, and therefore not Semites. He further claimed that Hitler killed the Jews not because of their religion, but due to their social role, which, in his words, had to do with usury, money, and so on and so forth. Bro. The thing is, I don't even know if he genuinely believes that. I think that's just like he's like, oh, Palestinians don't like me. I'll be anti-Semitic. I'm just so it didn't work though, did it? I don't think this helped him at all. I feel like Palestinians are a bit more interested in like tangible results than just having a leader who doesn't really advocate for them in any meaningful way, but occasionally does Holocaust denial. I don't really think that's what they're after, you know? What is So this guy has 77% unfavorable poll because he isn't more radical. It's not because he's not radical enough. It's because he's like he doesn't do anything. He's like he's like authoritarian for one. He hasn't held elections for like he's been there for what 15 20, more than 15 years, no elections. He coordinates a lot with Israeli security and very often throws Palestinian organizations under the bus to do so. Uh, Even people who are not like violent. So, and he's insanely corrupt as well. He's worth more than Netanyahu. Last time I checked, this guy's worth like 400 million or some mad shit. Like, yeah, he's just not a good guy. He's just a bad dude. I don't know. But I guess he thinks it's because he's not anti-Semitic enough. So he's sad. Oh God, strange looking guy. Anyway. They aren't really taught the difference between Jews and Israelis in school. My experience from my family, or who are not Palestinian, they're Lebanese, is that like when they say Jews, they mean Israelis. Like, which is difficult because sometimes when you see like Palestinian activists, um, or like for like thought leaders, for actually who are Palestinian, they'll give talks, and even the ones who are like quite good, like they got quite good advocacy and like they're quite reasonable. Um, they'll say stuff like there was that guy we saw giving a lecture, and he was talking about something. This is evident of like Jewish influence on Western politics, and I had to explain to chat that he was actually meant Israeli like that Israel is like a popular partner for Western countries. Like, yeah, that the guy wasn't actually like being anti-Semitic when he said it. Like, it's just because that's just the words that they use. Yeah, which makes it a bit difficult sometimes to tell one from the other. Do you think disassociating Jews from Israelis is possible in the Middle East, or is it too late? I I don't. When people, I always find it a bit weird when people try to say like anti-Israel has nothing to do with being like pro or anti-Jew and all that. Um often because it's an excuse used in bad faith. Like I feel like more recently, whenever I hear anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, it's usually after the person just said something anti-Semitic. But like even when it's not, because again, like obviously you can hate Israel and like you can even not want Israel to exist, but not be necessarily be anti-Semitic, depending on how you want that to happen. But like it's still hard to disconnect like Zionism from like the anti-Semitic history that led to it being a thing, you know? Like there's a lot of connection going on there. I'm gonna eat breakfast. Okay. I'll leave the channel open if you want to come in and say anything. Uh but I think what usually happens when you have Hamas attacks is um yeah, I don't know. Like the reprisals are going to be really, really insane. But also, you're going to see like these images of what was it like? Do you remember? I think it was 2014. After it was like it was one of the Gaza wars when Israeli civilians were going up on hilltops with to have like beer and a fucking picnic, watching the rockets go off and like celebrating. And like yeah, like you'll see stuff like that happen as well. Like it's gonna like the amount that people get like fucking the amount that the Israeli right like shows themselves when things like this happen, like yeah, it's really, really bad. Do you think Gaza is getting reoccupied or too much of a quagmire? Are they going to occupy Gaza again? I don't know. I mean, after their failure in Lebanon in 2006, I don't think could they? Would they even succeed in doing that? I don't know. I actually couldn't tell you. Anyway, air raid sirens in Jerusalem, major explosions. Has this pushed even more? Here, I don't think they this bit was this isn't the edge of a town. You know what? I really hope that an event like this will finally show some of these like far left morons exactly what Hamas is, right? Like when they say that like it's all like the entire existence of Israel is in itself an occupation and therefore everyone is a legitimate target. I hope they understand now where that logic goes. Like all these videos of fucking like women's bodies being dragged through the fucking streets and people cheering and shit. Um yeah, I don't know. I hope people understand and also like how little it's going to achieve. Um because I think the general impression people get of Hamas is that they're bad, but we don't really know why. Like that's usually I feel like the general like most people just get this kind of feeling that they're bad because like I don't know terrorism, anti-Semitism. I don't think people really connect exactly like what Hamas actually like what their activity actually means and what they would do if they could. Because right now they're just kind of like calling for any Israeli to just die basically, um, and we've known that like it's more than terrorism really like It's more than terrorism because like it's a group that like they want to like they're the kind of group that would just like commit a full blown genocide if they could, right? Like that's what seems to be the case. When people think terrorism, I think it gets watered down and all that because so many groups get called terrorists who are of like varying levels of morality. Like Mandela was called a terrorist for blowing up fucking infrastructure in an apartheid state. So I think terrorism kind of loses its sting. But with I don't know. Israeli helicopters fire inside the Erez crossing. When is the new video coming up on the main channel? I mean, I was supposed to be filming today, but a war broke out, so I don't. Let's see an article. How did Israeli intelligence fail to stop major attack in Gaza? How did they? I think this is partly because I think some people in Israel feel like the IDF has betrayed them because the IDF has had this rift with Netanyahu. That would be my guess. We have no idea how this could have happened. That is the reaction Israeli officials have been giving today when I asked them how, with all its vast resources, Israeli intelligence did not see this attack coming. Dozens of armed Palestinian gunmen were able to cross the heavily fortified border between Israel and the Gaza Strip, while thousands of rockets were fired from Gaza into Israel. With the combined efforts of Shin Bet, Israeli domestic intelligence, Mossad, its external spy agency, and all the assets of the Israeli Defense Forces, it is frankly astounding that nobody saw this coming. Or if they did, they failed to act on it. Israel is arguably the most extensive and well funded intelligence services in the Middle East. It has informants and agents inside Palestinian militant groups, as well as in Lebanon, Syria, and elsewhere. It has, in the past, carried out precisely timed assassinations of militant leaders, knowing all their movements intimately. Sometimes these have been done with drone strikes after agents have placed a GPS tracker on an individual's car. Sometimes, in the past, it has even used exploding mobile phones. On the ground, along the tense border fence between Gaza and Israel, there are cameras, ground motion sensors, and regular army patrols. The barbed wire topped fence is supposed to have been a smart barrier to prevent exactly the sort of infiltration that has taken place in this attack. Yet, the militants of Hamas simply bulldozed their way through, cut holes in the wire, or entered Israel from the sea by paraglider. I did not know they were doing that. Whoa. Fucking Batman. To prepare for and carry out such a coordinated, complex attack involving the stockpiling and firing of thousands of rockets right under the noses of the Israelis must have taken extraordinary levels of operational security by Hamas. Not surprisingly, the Israeli media has been asking urgent questions of their country's military and political leaders as to how all this could have occurred on the 50th anniversary of another surprise attack by Israel's enemies at the time, the Yom Kippur War of October 1973. Israeli officials tell me a major investigation has begun and questions, they say, will go on for years. But right now, Israel has more pressing priorities. It needs to contain and suppress the infiltration of its southern borders, removing those Hamas militants who have taken control of several communities on the Israeli side of the border fence. Are you that naive? What are you saying? I'm reading an article, you moron. What am I naive for? Share. What am I naive for? Where did I say that was naive? What? I want to hop on stream right now. Go for it. Come in the waiting room. Do you have perms? I'll give you the permission. Hang on. Give you the role. There's your role. Go. Israeli officials tell me a major investigation has begun and questions they say will go on for years. But right now, Israel has more pressing priorities. It needs to contain and suppress the infiltration of its southern borders, removing those Hamas militants who have taken control of several communities on the Israeli side of the border fence. It will need to address the issue of its own citizens who have been taken captive, either through an armed rescue mission or by negotiation. It will try to eliminate the launch sites for all those rockets being fired into Israel, an almost impossible task of a whack-a-mole, as they can be launched from almost anywhere with little notice. And perhaps the biggest worry for Israel is this. How does it stop others responding to Hamas's call for arms and avoid this conflict? What the fuck? Oh,
I can't hear you.
sorry, shit. You I heard myself
Let me pop
echoing
in and
through
out
you.
again.
I have my fucking headphones off. Jesus. Hey. Hello.
Hello?
Hello. I'm just gonna keep reading this article. You sort your own life out. Perhaps the biggest worry for Israel is this: how does it stop others from responding to Hamas's call to arms and avoid this conflagration spreading into the West Bank and possibly even draw in the heavily armed fighters of Hezbollah across its northern border with Lebanon? Okay. You hear me yet? You've muted yourself.
I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. I can hear you. Good.
Hold on. I was trying to use my mic because last time someone told me I sounded like I was talking through a toaster.
You sound very clear. You sound clearer than you ever have before.
Really? Okay, then that's perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god, bro.
What's your story? Yeah.
Dude, 10 hours ago, someone sent me like a tweet of some like guy using a fucking paraglider. You know what I mean? And my first instinct was to, like, laugh, and now like 11 hours later, holy shit, like several hundred people have died. It's fucking insane. I have not slept. I have not fucking slept. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
I've literally just
I think I woke up, checked my phone, and the first thing I saw was a DM from Wick saying, Israel's declared war. Do you want to do a panel on it? And I was like, okay. Then I just saw all the tweets and the video. Yeah, God.
That's the first response. The most important, Israel's declared war. It's time to do a panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our streamer's first response unit. He's quick. Yeah. He's actually more on the ball than the fucking IDF, it seems.
Holy fucking hell. Dude, I have absolutely no idea how the fuck this is unprecedented. Like, even like when I tell you that like the Palestinian forces like historically have been so ass, like they have never done anything like this. Like, bro, like this is like not even like during 1948 were they able to like fend off to like hold on to territory or to like take back territory that was like taken from like Zionist Israeli forces. Like, it's never this has like never happened before.
Yeah, like even Yom Kippur, they got close to the border, but they never penetrated the border, did they? Yeah.
That was Egypt and that was Syria. Like, this is uniquely towards like the Palestinian side of this, right? Like, this is unprecedented. Like, literally unprecedented. Like, this is like Israel has bombed Gaza so many fucking times, but this is like the most like unique like interaction. Like, never in my entire life has this shit happened.
How much do you think it has to do with the IDF having their rift with the Netanyahu government?
I genuinely have no fucking... Dude, like, honestly, if you told me a year ago this shit was gonna happen, I would have, like... I would have disregarded you. I would have been like, you're fucking psychotic, you know? Like, holy fuck.
I think I remember a few months ago when IDF soldiers were refusing to turn up to their posts and less people were joining, then staying, then I remember Hezbollah, one of their officials, saying that this is like going to be a big opportunity, but all they did was they fired some pot shots. And I thought that was what it was going to be. It's going to be like they're going to get excited that the IDF are disillusioned. They're going to fire some shots and the Iron Dome will take out most of them, and that's it, right? That's what I expected. But yeah, not this.
Yeah, oh my god. I genuinely, like, I'm done trying to predict shit. Like, I have no idea where this is fucking going. I don't even know. Like, I've heard, like, I've been reading a lot of like Hamas's, like, their officials, like what they're saying their plan is, and like I just don't believe them. I have no like it's impossible for me to even believe that like they thought they were going to be like at this level of like success. Like, I'm like just like going straight in. And like even like right now, like there's like a part of me in like the back of my head. The more they succeed, the worse it's going to be when Israel like really starts retaliating.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it already seems that way with like
Yeah.
like everywhere I'm looking at like Israeli reactions, it's all just like they just want Gaza to get like actually thrown into the Stone Age now. It definitely it's not helping that like there are hostages and dead bodies being dragged through Gaza and just like a whole crowd gathering around to celebrate. Like,
Dude.
yeah,
I feel like so far like the latest like death toll I got from Gaza was like 198, right? Like
mm-hmm,
almost 200. And like I know more people are gonna die. I saw like 1,600 people were fucking injured. You know, people are dying right now as we speak. Like more people have died in this one day than like on the Palestinian side than they have like throughout the entire fucking year. And this entire year has been like violent as balls, man.
mm-hmm. What's I've been actually looking for what was the actual announcement that Hamas gave
On what?
on this? Didn't they give an announcement calling for other Palestinians in the West Bank and to do the same, to join in with them?
They're calling on like everybody. They're calling on
Yeah.
Morocco, Jordan, like this is like I it's so weird to me because like I don't know, they always like like in my mind, like after like Israel would bomb Gaza and like they wouldn't respond and like Islamic Jihad would respond. I was like it built like in my mind that Hamas is like a very cautious organization, right? Because like if they want to respond, right? When if they want to respond, they would naturally do it when Israel's attacking like the area that they control,
Mm-hmm.
like they didn't. So I was thinking, oh man, they must be like picking and choosing their battles. So like now, for them to go like to do something like completely unprecedented, like I don't know, like to me it seems like that to me shows like an amount of confidence on their part, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Yeah, and it seems it's. I mean, I can't really say how much support they have from Palestinian side apart from just like the streets in Gaza, but that's not really a good indication because.
I think
Um,
I don't know. I think like when you're talking about like the organization and its like ideology and like the just general like idea of resistance of like launching attacks of like even like occupying and retaking like territory and stuff like that, like the I think the ideology is like no one gives a shit about that, you know, like I think a good example of this is like the PFLP. You know them or no?
yeah, the communists, right?
Yeah, the communist. Or no? Oh, as soon as they lost the ability to like, because as soon as like the Soviet Union collapsed and they lost their funding and they lost the ability to do like acts of like they used to be the second biggest like Palestinian group. They used to be very popular. The minute that like the Soviet Union stopped funding them, you know, they weren't able to retain their popularity because what people cared about wasn't the ideology. What they cared about was like that, you know, Israel, this like big kind of like bully was getting pushback in some way or another. You know that like they might be able to kill Palestinians, but we might be able to like respond. That was like that was the thing that's the draw from all these groups. So
Yeah.
like that's what I think a lot of people are supporting in Palestine. Just like the ability that like that there is a response after all this like insane shit that's been happening this year, and that like the response is like uh, has been like at this level of like unprecedented like success. This is like the biggest L Israel a Palestinian movement has ever given Israel, I think. Like before it was all just like political concessions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, like getting you know Israel to start negotiating with the Palestinians, things like that. But like oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I just keep getting sent all kinds of different like there. I think people in Israel are apparently like there's like some kind of conspiracy theory that like they think the south the Gaza border areas have been like sold out, and like someone here is saying that there's like almost no IDF people in the south at all. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
This has been this thing with the Israel and its soldiers has been a problem for a very long time. Like you know, Israel has a really big and growing kind of like religious Orthodox population
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't, you know, want to get involved with the army. They kind of want to have like these special privileges. And it also has like a Palestinian population, which is like 20% of its population, that doesn't want to be involved in the army either.
Yeah.
So that could possibly explain why they're spread so thin. Like people have been like complaining about that shit for a while. Like yeah, the fact that the fastest growing population, their fastest growing population, the one that produces like the most like young men,
Yeah.
is not interested in being a part of the army, probably like contributed to the fact that like I don't know, like for some reason like they couldn't see like some guy with a fucking paraglider come in.
Jesus Christ.
Dude, I have no idea. God,
It's pretty wild.
this is pretty fucking wild, man. Like this is worse. This is a worse L than Israel took when they lost to Hezbollah in 2006.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how like people on the left, the left, like they sympathize with like Hezbollah. They
Mhm.
always post of that one like village where there was like 2,000 Israeli soldiers are going there, and they only had like 800 like Hezbollah soldiers, and it's like the fucking like meme song, and it's like played on like repeat over and over and over again. Like, hey, shut the fuck up, Wheaton 500. I'll say like as many times as I want.
Yes. True American.
Okay, like, I'm feeling self-conscious.
You were talking about the town with the attack. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that meme song is played like repeat on and on and on again. But like, I feel like this is gonna replace that.
Yeah. Um, how I think you see there were Hezbollah people on bikes getting shot at in the north. What do you think is gonna? Do you think Hezbollah is gonna get involved with this? I mean, I thought they would have, but based on what they've been saying in the last few months, but I don't know.
I have no idea.
Well, also turn your Discord notifications off. They're
How do I
causing
do that?
absolute chaos. Settings, user settings, notifications under app settings.
Right.
Then you can just disable. There's the top one, enable desktop notifications. Just turn them off. Maybe go
All right.
down, and also you can disable. You can choose which sounds you want to disable as well. Under sounds, you can disable all the notifications if you want, just for the call. And you can bring them back after. Okay. Whoa. So hard to tell what exactly Hamas is hoping to achieve. Hard to tell if Hezbollah are going to get involved. Quite likely Israel is going to react by going absolutely ape on Gaza and probably West Bank as well. What else? I don't know. What do you? Apart from just people giving cringe takes, were you watching Vosh debating that IDF soldier?
Yeah, I felt Vosh did a good job thinking on his feet, but there were like areas where like if he knew more about the subject, I feel like he would have gotten easier like in,
Mm-hmm. I think I don't know. I find it really I feel like it must be so alienating if you're like either Jewish or like Israeli, but like pro-Palestinian Israeli, or even sympathetic, and you come onto a call with someone and they're like, well, it seems that you want to kill all the Palestinians. How do we stop you from doing that? And it's like, okay, what the fuck? But I don't know. I feel like I don't, like, you've probably noticed that as well. Just like, it's so hard to find people on this subject in like the streamer or like breadtube world who don't just give you the most absolutely insane, like polarized fucking takes, I feel like we were so used to the whole like glass Israel shit from Vosh, or like the Banabanadas concentration camps and shit, and then we get Destiny like more recently with his side.
Vosh said he never said anything controversial towards Israel, and I was like,
Well, sorry?
He said he never said anything controversial about Israel before.
Oh, Vosh said.
Yeah, he said that during the stream. It was
well,
he thought he was being cute and shit.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think you're gonna like? I know you stream a little bit now. Are you gonna stream about this, or are you gonna make a video, or do you have any? Or are you just kind of watching in awe right now?
I am. This is pure adrenaline. Like, I honestly, I told myself I don't have like the time to stream because of like school and stuff. But like this, like I have not slept. I have not slept for the entire night, and I feel like I just woke up too. I cannot believe that like hours ago,
Mhm.
like I saw like a clip of a guy going into Israel on a paraglider, and now we're here. You know?
Yeah. Um, I think it's still pretty blackpilling, to be honest. Like, it could push Israelis to get rid of Netanyahu and like suddenly sympathize with more with Palestinian cause, but I think it's more likely they're just going to go further right.
I don't think
And
that they're going to start sympathizing with the Palestinian cause,
no,
but I do think that there is going to be like a big kind of like section of them are going to be like, why did you fuck up so much, Netanyahu? You know?
yeah, that's what I'm seeing on like Jewish Twitter. There's a lot of like the IDF has abandoned us kind of thing going on, uh, and I think they are blaming uh, Netanyahu for that. Seems to be the case. I don't know.
Fuck.
It's really difficult when all you can look at is Twitter updates and shit.
My big concern is right now Hawara. I have a cousin who lives there.
Hmm.
Oh, you know, every time like stuff happens, some settlers go in and they try to like burn down buildings and stuff.
Hmm.
The other day they killed somebody, so uh, like this isn't a. It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I'm probably going to be here for the next few hours, so if you ever have anything, you can free to jump in again.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah.
you had anything else to say, sorry.
Oh, I wanted to say something about that person and their like take on the Soviet Union. So like what happened with the Soviet Union was like technically the Soviet Union supported Israel, uh, but it was more like so Czechoslovakia had to deal with Israel to sell them weapons. They also had to deal with Arab countries to sell them weapons, but the Soviet Union stepped in and they said you can't sell weapons to Egypt, but it's fine for you to sell weapons to Israel, right? They got like one of their deputy foreign ministers, and you know at the time the Soviets were occupying Czechoslovakia, so they basically had like the say and like the ability for like the weaponry to go through. You know, Eastern Europe was based off of their say so. So like in that regard, like the Soviets were very like you know integral in getting them that weaponry. I don't think the Israelis would have won 1948, especially with like the Arab invading armies, if they didn't have like that Czechoslovakian weaponry. So like in a way, yeah.
Whoa, I didn't even
But
know that.
yeah, I wouldn't call like Israel at that time socialist though, because like um, uh, if your socialist movement is built off of like we want unions but no Arabs in our unions, like I don't think that's to me that's not socialism, right?
That's just every union in the 1940s, though. Yeah, like in America, it was the same with black people, right? Or the UK, it was the same with
Yeah.
Windrush or like other immigrants. Yeah, no, I know. I mean, every other self-proclaimed socialist just like isn't right. Yeah.
Oh Lord. Okay, I'm gonna keep doom scrolling and like looking shit up. If I feel like I see anything, I'm gonna hop back on.
Okay. Cool. I'll speak to you soon. All right.
Yeah.
Take care. Bye. Okay. Oh, holy fuck. Hey. This convo is boring. What do you want me to talk about? Amumin 1980. What do you want to talk about? What do you want me to talk about? Do you want me to get an enraged Zionist in here? Do you want me to get one of them? See what they're saying? Do you want me to get someone who's just watched a bunch of civilians get dragged through the cities, fucking blood coming out of their heads and shit, getting their bodies stomped on by people in Gaza? Do you want me to bring one of them in and see how they're feeling? Do you want me to get Arahelion in here? Can we please talk about if body count matters? What? I mean, it's going to be the case that more Palestinians will die than Israelis in this. And it seems to be the case that's already happening, right? Yeah. What's the? Are you talking about like the nuance because Hamas made the first move, or what? Oh, that body count. Okay. Jesus. I thought you were just like it doesn't really. Does it really matter how many people die at the end of the day?